Hello, you're welcome back once again. My name is Amadi Chile, and for this week 4, we are going to learn CSS Flexbox and Grid. So what are we supposed to learn for our Saturday's class? Well, here are some key points. What is Flexbox? How to add flex to a container tag? How to change flex direction? Understanding flex wrap? Adjusting flex item size by using flex grow and flex shrink. Horizontal and vertical alignment for all flex items. Vertical alignment for an item. How to change order of flex items using flex within flex. So let's begin. Now, what is Flexbox? Flexbox is a one-dimensional layout method for arranging items in rows or columns. In a flex container, items flex to fill additional space or shrink to fit into smaller spaces. So next you're going to learn how to add flex to a container tag. So I'll move to my VS Code. So I have this default settings, and this is still default settings. So let's do the markup for this class. So I have a section dot limit flex, then I need 6 boxes, so dot box 1 times 6. So this is just a VS Code shortcut. So box 1, so here will be box 2, then here will be box 3, and here will be box 4, and here will be box 5, and here will be box 6. So next we need to change this to 6, to 5, to 4, to 3, to 2, and this one remains 1 and 1. Okay, so now we have this basic markup. So if I save, it will look like this. So let me just add some spacing. So I'll use the body and say padding 1 arrow em. So we have this spacing. So how do we add flex to a flex container? Well, remember that this section represents the container of which all these boxes here, or each children, will be flex if the flex is applied. So how do we apply it? So I'm going to target it by saying dot flex, and I'll say display flex. And before I save this, I want to explain something. Display properties are used to change the default behavior of how a tag displays. For example, we know that the div tag displays in block, and why maybe like the span tag or the anchor tag displays in line by default. So using display properties, like flex, you can change that behavior. So let me save. And you notice that it has changed. Now, what has happened here? Well, immediately you add flex to the parent tag, then it assumes that all the children will be flex. So that's why I see box 1 to box 6 is flex. So let's now move to the next one. How to change flex direction. So I'll move here. So by default, the flex direction is row. So now if I want to change it back to the original state, which is column, I'll choose column. So you see, let's just leave it at row. So this is it. So let's move to the next one, understanding flex wrap. So before we write the code, there are some the basic setup we need to do. Like, we want to give these individual boxes a bit of size and height so that it can stretch. Then only then can we understand what the flex wrap means and what it is doing. So I'm going to go to say dot flex, and if you notice, all of this is div. So instead of me to be targeting box 1, box 2, box 3, box 3, that will be a lot of stress. So I'll just say space div. Then I'll say flex column, let me say 100 pixel. Let me give it a height of certain view height. I think that will be too small. So let's use 30. So you notice, so let's give it a border 1 pixel solid. Let's use green. So if I save this, you notice now I want to explain something, so I have to maximize this. Now if I go to my inspect mode, now you see that as I extend the screen size to the maximum, you see that the boxes are well arranged and is big enough. But notice a problem: as I shrink the screen, it still remains like that. Instead, the box becomes smaller down to the end. It does not change. So if you want to tell a flex container that if there is no enough room for you to contain the 6 boxes, then the last one should come to the next row, just like that. So you use the flex wrap. So let's add the flex wrap to the parent tag, which is this flex. No, not that. Flex wrap, pull wrap. Now by default it is on no wrap. So now if we go back to our screen, you notice that it's still big. but as I shrink, you see, see, and see how it looks. So this is how the flex wrap works. So if this default behavior is not good enough for you, then you can use this media attribute to listen to now handle that. But using flex wrap like this can make you reduce how often you use your this media attribute. So let's go to the next one. Adjusting flex item size, flex grow and flex shrink. Now flex grow is all about how much space a flex item can take. Then flex shrink, this value specifies how much an item will shrink in order to prevent overflow. And this is how, and this is just an example. For example, let's target, if we target box 1 and say flex of 1 200 pixel. Now what does this unit and this unit mean? So this one is the flex grow, and why this one is the flex shrink, or like the minimum size. So this one is the proportion unit, and this one is the minimum size it can shrink to. So let's apply this. So I'll go back to my VS Code. So I'll minimize this again. So now that we understand what the flex shrink does, let's continue. So I'll move to sorry, excuse me. So let's add, so come here and target our box 1, and we'll say flex. So it should expand 2 times more than the rest, and its minimum size should be let's say 200 pixel. So if we save that, we'll not see it here, but let's increase. Box 1, let's see. Okay, I think it's my CSS. It's my CSS, so there is a conflict, so I have to add flex, not dot flex. Space dot 1. So now you notice now by default this one has a bigger space, even though it has not come to the next line. Remember, the flex wrap will force it to come to the next line in order for it not to cause an overflow. But if we maximize our screen, you notice that by default this box 1 has a bigger space. So let's do another one. So dot flex dot box 2. So I can use flex. It should have a default space. Now this one means that if there is no flex shrink or grow that is being specified, it means all of them will have the same size. So I'll select the minimum size be 50 pixels so that it will be obvious. So if I save, you notice that it's smaller than it's meant to be, and if I maximize this, notice that it's smaller. So that is it for adjusting flex item size. So next, we will now move to horizontal and vertical alignment for all flex items. And in this, the new thing that we need to add is align items center. Now this is for the vertical alignment. So there are so many values for this, but the one we use now, the center, means it should be perfectly the center. Then justify content space around, so there should be a hyphen here, and this is for the horizontal alignment. So let's test this out. So in order for us to see this, I want to inside this flex item, I want to give it a border of 1 pixel solid red. So that is it. Then let's add a mean height of 80 view height. So this is very big. So now you notice that if I maximize the screen, you notice that this is not properly aligned vertically. So let's add that. So I'll come here and say align items. Now you see some of the many values I can add: base, center, end. So you can try this on your own. So if I save now, so you notice that it is now at the center. So if I maximize, see that it is now at the center. Then justify content space around. So let's see. So this one, there is no space because this is too big, or because we specified this. So let me comment this as and check. Okay. Let me use this other one. Okay, so let me use this other one, space between. Save. Okay, I think let's comment out these two and check who get expected results. Yes, so these two, yeah, the cost. So if I So if I comment this out, save, so that too is also the cost. So let's use 50. So as long as there is no space, then you notice that this horizontal alignment will not work. So let's comment it out and save. I notice that it's not working as so. See this horizontal alignment. So you can use it to align them just the way you want. So let's try that one. Space around. So you notice that there is a space around. So this is how, this is some few example of what this guy does. It helps to, you can use it to tell Flex how you want the flex item to be spaced. So, and it gives you some default values that does a nice job. So let's go to the next one. Vertical alignment of an item. So let's assume that I don't want the box 1 to be in the same line with the rest of the item. So how do I do that? So I'll target box 1 and say, and add this property, align self, then flex end. So let's try this. So let's try this. So I'm going to remove this one, or let me just leave it. Then I'm going to save dot box 1 align self flex end. So you see it has gone down. So there's flex start, so it needs to go up. Then if I target box 6, shift alt arrow down, box 6, and say flex end, notice what happened. So you use this arrangement. So this is just what you can use this CSS property that is unique to Flex to do. So you can use it to change the general order of the Flex items. So let's go to the next one. How to change order of Flex items. Now by default, all Flex items have an order value of 0, means the way you arrange it in your markup is the way it will appear on screen. But you can set a negative. So if you add a positive value, that means you can change the order. So you can set negative order values to make items appear earlier than items whose value is 0. So an example of this, dot box 2 and the order is 1. So let's try this out. So I can target box 2 again, dot box 2, will say order 1. I notice that box 2 is no longer in its original position, but in the last position, because this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1. So if I add a -1, which is less than 0, so it means box 2 will be at the front. So this is how you can change the order of flex items. So let's go to the next one, using flex within flex, and this is the last part of this class. So if I go back to my markup, so if I activate this back and save, so let's say I want to add a flex within box 2. So I'll go back to my markup, and I will use just 2 span tag, line 1 and line 2. So if I save this, remember that the span tag display by default in line. So how do I now apply flex to now make it show in block? So let's do that. So I'm going to add, let me see if it will work here, display flex direction color. So let's see. So you see how it is. Then there's also something else. If you want to give spacing within the span tag, I can also add gap if I don't want to use the justify content stuff. So I can add gap of 2 arrow here. So you notice what will happen now. See how it's spaced. So you notice that box 2 is already part of a flex item, and now we've added flex into the box 2. So this is flex within flex. So thank you very much for watching up to this point, and I encourage you to practice so that you understand the principles of how this stuff works. So I'll see you in the next video.